You have probably seen hundreds of YouTube videos on how to build an AI agent in n8n, and it goes something like this. Go to the n8n canvas, plus button, click hit chat trigger, then find an AI agent, give it a model, just like a brain. For a mini memory is simple memory or with the buffer memory. We'll give it Google Helen. There we go. You got yourself an AI agent and hope it works. Choosing the wrong model could lead to the AI agent performing it slow and completely useless. In this video, I'm going to show you the proper way to build a powerful production-ready AI agent in n8n. The kind that can think, remember and take action, even switch model based on what the user has asked. By the end of this video, you will have an AI agent that feels less like a toy, more like a teammate. Let's dive in. If you're new to this channel, my name is Aftab. I help businesses streamline processes with no-code tool like n8n. Today, I'm going to give you a full blueprint to build an AI agent that will work in the real world. Let's head down to n8n and build the most reliable AI agent that will deliver consistent output.
We are back in n8n canvas. We'll build an AI agent. Plus button, choose it. Just quickly, one thing I wanted to show you. Once you double click in there, if you click this button to make chat publicly available, use this link to access this chat interface from outside of n8n. So then click AI agent. We've got also our AI agent, so we've got to give it a brain. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of options here. Over 10 different various options you can choose. Mostly when you see YouTube video, they will just say, hey, let's choose an open chat model. But it is really crucial to choose the right model because it depends on what are the tasks you want your AI agent to do. For a fast response, choose a Groq model because that's fast. So if you want really accurate, whether it can code or summarize and you can write a blog post or call some tools, it all depends on which model you choose from this list. So let's break it down each model, go through when to use it, what is the best for, what to watch out for.
The first model we're going to talk about is Anthropic chat model. What we'll be talking about how the Anthropic chat models are best for, what are some of the strengths they have, and some of the use cases where Anthropic chat model actually shine. We will not be deep dive into the various model sits under the Anthropic chat model, but at the end of the video, I'll give you a PDF downloadable. You see, once you download that, which will highlight the individual strengths and weaknesses for various Anthropic chat model, which apply to the rest of the model we'll be talking about. Anthropic, it excels at content that needs natural and conversational while maintaining boundaries. Perfect for customer-facing content, educational materials, or anything natural communication style. There are good use cases where Anthropic chat models are used. One is marketing copy. Anthropic chat model is one of the best model to use. Also, the other hand is the blog writing. Out of all the chat model we currently have, Anthropic actually excel in these two areas. Anthropic model also used in a customer support space where communication to the customer using your own brand and style and tone. Chat model is one of the best model to use that for. The next we'll be talking about Azure OpenAI chat model.
Azure OpenAI is based for enterprise workflows, designed for large organization that needs AI integrated into existing Microsoft ecosystem. Think like a Fortune 500 companies with complex compliance and infrastructure. It's hosted in Microsoft clouds, secure for business use. Data stays within the Microsoft Enterprise Cloud, software and other compliance obligations. No third-party data sharing concern that comes with the consumer AI services. You can deploy this chat model to analyze confidential contracts without data leaving the firm's environment. You can also use this in healthcare sector where you can process patient data while maintaining compliance. Next, we'll be talking about AWS Bedrock chat model. AWS Bedrock chat model is best for AWS native workflow. Perfect for organization running on AWS infrastructure who wants AI integrated with their Lambda function, S3 buckets, database, and other AWS services. It works natively with AWS ecosystem. You don't need to make an API call outside the cloud provider. You can trigger your Lambda function, query your database, and process file from S3 buckets. Trade-off is you have very few models to choose from, but it's easier to integrate if you're already in AWS. Next, we'll be talking about the DeepSeek chat model.
DeepSeek chat model is best for coding and logic-heavy use. It is specialized for developers and technical professionals who needs deep coding analysis, algorithm optimization, and complex problem solving. DeepSeek is strong with programming language and mathematical reasoning. It has an excellent reasoning engine and trained specifically for logical thinking. And the DeepSeek is very good at understanding complex code base, tracing through execution flow, and providing detailed explanation. I use DeepSeek a lot. One challenge of the DeepSeek is the model cannot execute function. What it means by that, it can't call tools. So you can't use tool with the DeepSeek model. But what you can use it for planning purposes. If you have a very complex task, sometimes I do have a very complex problem which I need to solve and I need AI to plan out how the task needs to be executed, I use DeepSeek to plan the task, but then use a different model because again, DeepSeek can't execute tools. Use a different model to execute that task. Overall, no tool integration, but exceptional code reasoning quality at a very low cost. Google Gemini chat model is best for multi-model use. What I mean by that is excels when you need an AI to process multiple type of content simultaneously, analyzing screenshot, understanding diagram, processing audio clip, combining visual and textual information in a single workflow. Its strength is vision, audio, text combo. Fast, it is very responsive. Its native multi-model processing can see, image, and hear audio rather than converting them into a text. Deliver a quick response across all media type. I use this model quite a lot. It's also relatively cheaper compared to some of the other models. And one use case I use it for is invoice processing. So I have an automation where the invoice comes in and automatically scans and pick up all the key information and then put it into my CRM. I use Google Gemini to do that, and it's pretty good. While the model is excellent for creative analysis and content generation, Gemini is optimized for complex reasoning, mathematical problem, or deep logic heavy problem solving. To do that, you need to use other model. Google Vertex chat model is based for Google Cloud Platform data and for machine learning project. It's perfect for when data lives in a Google Cloud services and you wanted to build a machine learning workflow that accesses big data table, cloud storage buckets within Google Cloud without moving data around. The strength of this is tight integration with Google Cloud AI tool. Vertex model natively read from Google Cloud Platform database, use cloud functionals for processing and deploy through the same infrastructure. No API key or data export and import required. If you wanted to build automation and workflow within the Google Cloud Platform, your best choice would be using Google Vertex chat models. And the trade-off is it comes with a higher setup complexity and Google Cloud locked in, but unmatched integration depth for Google Cloud and ecosystems. The Groq chat model is perfect for application where speed is crucial. Live customer support, instant search result, or any scenario where user expect immediate response under 1 second. The biggest strength is for Groq is the fastest response time. Example where you can use Groq is where Q&A, some sort of live response where you need response immediately. The biggest strength for Groq is the fast response time compared to ChatGPT around 5 to 10x faster. However, the trade-off is the shallow answers and weak reasoning. Optimized for speed over depth, great for quick facts, but it's really poor for thoughtful analysis. You should not be using Groq when it's related to complex problem solving, creative writing, detailed explanation, deep reasoning. Speed comes to the cost of the intelligence and thoughtfulness. Bottom line, look, I do use Groq quite a lot. I love Groq because of how fast it is. But again, choose Groq when you need lightning fast response for simple queries but big models when you need the AI to actually think. Mistral chat model is ideal for organizations that needed AI capability but require full control over the data processing, model behavior, and infrastructure. Perfect for transparency, privacy. Mistral is open source and you can install it locally and use the Mistral. And it's also transparent. You can inspect Mistral architecture, understand how it processes data, modify the data if needed, no hidden data collection or mysterious decision. So the trade-off is around higher technical complexity setting it up, but unmatched privacy, control, and transparency for sensitive AI applications. Ollama chat model is the best for offline use or self-hosted AI. Perfect for scenario where internet connectivity is unreliable, data cannot leave the premises, or you need an AI without external dependency. Ideal for air-gapped environment and data isolation. You can host this locally, private, and fully controlled. There's no API call, no data transmission, no third-party access. You control the model, data, and its processing, and you have ultimate control over its privacy and the security. In terms of trade-off point of view, high infrastructure requirement, slower performance, significant technical maintenance, but also privacy and total control over your data. OpenRouter is not a chat model. It's like a marketplace of LLM where you can have access to multiple large language models. OpenRouter is perfect for developer and businesses who want to use different AI models for tasks without managing separate API keys. It's got one single API for OpenAI, Claude, Gemini, and have access to over 50 plus models from various multiple providers. So you can switch between GPT-4, Claude, Gemini using the same code structure, just change the model parameter. It's great for also, you can compare model performance to see which one works better and use that for your automation. You can also try some of the model for free. So sometimes it could be cost effective, depends on what model you choose from OpenRouter. But the trade-off point of view, it's got an additional layer between you and the model provider. You'll be paying a little bit more than what if you directly connected to various API through various model provider. But again, massive convenience and flexibility switch between models. Groq chat model by XAI is best for social tone, fast content, and memes. Designed for creators, marketers, and social media managers who needs AI that understand internet culture, trend, and can match the casual and humorous tone that perform well on social media. It's really good for writing both blog posts, social media posts. I use it for my Instagram. It's pretty fast as well. However, it's less reliable on serious application, maybe too casual for professional trend. Groq is optimized for accuracy of complex reasoning, professional application. I wouldn't be use the Groq for any kind of financial advice, medical or legal guidance, or any kind of application where you have some type of compliance requirement. It's less reliable for serious application, maybe too casual for professional content, but unmatched for social media content. OpenAI chat model is the most commonly used chat models across the world in various applications. It is hard to define what is OpenAI best for, but it's kind of best for all-round AI agent. It's like a Swiss Army knife of AI agent, which is versatile enough to handle everything from creative writing to complex analyticals. They're good at action calling, what's been using tool. It excels at complex instruction, consistent formatting, and multi-step workflow with external API. It can read and understand photo. One which I generally use is 4.1. It's the smartest one. 4.0 is the fastest, and GPT 3.5 is the cheapest one you can get. Then there are some other one is O1, which is a very good reasoning model. However, it is the most expensive reasoning model in the market. So just a quick recap: if your use cases relate to complex reasoning, use OpenAI 4.1, DeepSeek or Claude. If you need multimodal support, use Gemini 1.5 or GPT-4. If you need something fast and cheap, use OpenAI 3.5, Groq. If you want something for private or offline, you can use Mistral or Olama, which you can self-host. Remember, you need more CPU power to run these models. If you want enterprise level security, choose from either OpenAI or AWS Bedrock. If you want model switching capability or try a different model, use OpenRouter. Don't worry, at the end of the video, I will have a downloadable cheat sheet which you can download and which will have in details reference note for each of the model, which will help you choose the right model if you need to decide which model to choose for your project. Now we have gone through all the models, which is listed up in here, and we have some general idea what they're best for, when should we use this model and when you shouldn't. But in our case, let's pick a model. We'll pick OpenAI chat model. Once you pick the model, there are some settings we need to go through. Most of the time we actually ignore them, but these settings are really important for your model performance. So the first one is frequency penalty. The frequency penalty controls the word repetition. How often do you want the model to repeat the same word multiple times? If it says 0.0, the example output it gives a great solution, great approach, great result. But if you select 1.0, it might give you something like excellent solution, smart approach, or impressive result. As you can see, it didn't use the same word twice. Then you had maximum number of tokens. So maximum number of tokens sets response length. So 50 tokens, something like a very brief answer only. So if I select 50, it'll be like a very brief answer. But if I select 500 token, it will have a detailed explanation with an example. And if you select 2000, it will give you like a pretty long form of content essay. Then the next one is response format. So there's two options you generally have this. You have a text or JSON. By default, it's always text unless you need JSON. Sometimes JSON is important because sometimes you want your model output to be an input to your larger workflow. In that case, JSON would be appropriate, but by default, we always select text. Next one is presence penalty. So the presence penalty is how much you encourage the AI model to use topic diversity. Suppose if you select 0.0, it will stay focused on the same topics. But if you choose 1.0 to introduce new concept and idea. So next you have sampling temperature, which is one of the important one. So it controls the creativity and randomness. By default, it's always 0.7. But if you select 0.1, it will be very conservative. But if you select 1.0, it will be really creative. So then we have timeout. So timeout is maximum time you wait your AI agent for response. Next is timeouts. It's basically a maximum wait time for response. I always leave it as a 60,000, but however, you can adjust it based on your requirement. Then you have max, which is one of the interesting one. I generally use around 5, but by default it's only 2. So how many times you want your AI agent to try to get you the answer? Sometimes it fails. How many times you want it to try to get success? So I generally do 5. But again, it depends on your use cases. You can use, by default it's 2, you can use between 1 to 100, but generally 5 tend to give me a good outcome. And the next one is top P. Top P is around limits word choice variety. If I select, it will have a very focused vocabulary, but if I select, it will have full range of word choice. So I generally leave it to the maximum, so you'll have access to much larger vocabulary. Just a couple of things to remember if you're doing creative writing. Maybe increase the temperature up to to 1.2, 1.3. If you're writing something in a very technical, fact-based, maybe reduce it to below 0.5. Here's something it works for me. So if I'm doing creative writing, I generally set the temperature up to 1.2 to 1.3. But if I'm writing something very technical or fact-based, I will reduce it to below 5, somewhere between 3 and 5. If I'm using that for a chatbot, I will leave it as the default, which is 0.7. This tend to give me the good result, but again, for your use case might be a little bit different. So make sure to try out different numbers and see which one is the best outcome for yourself. So we have gone through the model settings. Now let's look at the AI agent settings. To look at the settings, double click the AI agent, then add option. We have roughly around 5 settings we need to play with. The first one is the system message, which is the most important when you're setting up an AI agent. The system message sets the AI personality and the behavioral rules. Example would be like, you're a helpful coding assistant with 10 years of experience, blah blah blah. Think of this as AI job description, and with that guides all the responses. That's why this is where you also set out the boundaries, what the AI can do, what the AI should not do. The next one is max iteration. Max iteration is how many times the AI can call tools and function in one response. By default it's 10, but depends on your use case. You can select any numbers. If you select 10, it can call the API 10 times to get the result you wanted. So next one is return intermediate steps. When you ask something to the agent, it actually goes back and forward and try to get the answer and call an API, or it reasoning itself and asking this question and go through back and forward and finally give you the output. But what you actually see the final output. So if you wanted to see how the AI agent actually get that response, if you turn it on, you'll be able to see that. It's really good for if you wanted to set some quality assurance processes, so you can check how the AI actually got those responses. So the next one is automatically pass through binary images. If it's turned on, it means that it's allowed the AI agent to pass through a binary or the image file, which it can. If it turns on, then it can handle image processing automatically. When it turns off, image need manual conversation, so you have to describe the image. It is essential for multimodal workflow, so make sure to always turn it on. And the final one is batch processing. You can add to batch size or delay between batches. In batch size, you can do 5 at a time, 10 at a time. I generally leave as it 1. I don't normally use batch processing because sometimes what happens is that when you're doing a batch processing, it overwhelms the AI agent and it fails. But some cases you can actually use batch processing. It basically processes multiple requests in one go. So when to use each of the settings we just went through. System message always sets a system. Always set this to define your AI role and tone and how you want the AI to behave. Max iteration increase for complex workflow like a research, multitask. Intermediate step turn on for debugging or if you need transparency or process. Image pass through enable for very visual content workflow. Batch processing for use for bulk operation and efficiency. So next is the memory. A lot of the time we skip this part or we just choose simple memory. There's nothing wrong with choosing simple memory. Simple memory is for if you're using it as your development process. But once you have a fully functional system, you should not be using a simple memory, because what happens is that simple memory let you store or utilize your computer RAM for a temporary purpose. Once the computer is shut down or the system is shut down, it restarts. So what it means is that all the stuff you saved on the memory just disappeared and you have to start it again. Instead of memory, you can use one of these, and the easiest one to use is the Postgres chat memory. Let me know in the comment if you wanted me to do a full demo on how to set it up Postgres chat memory. It's pretty simple. I use Superbase to do that. So if you do use Postgres chat memory, you can have 10. The context window length is 10, so that means that the AI agent will remember the last 10 interaction you had with it. You don't have to remind it about the context. It will remember the topics and your chat conversations. The context window length is generally 5 by default, but you can increase to 10 or reduce it. So what it means is that how many past interaction the model is going to receive as a context or knowledge base every time you have a conversation. So that means that regardless you shut down the computer or not, the AI agent will remember the last 10 of whatever the number you said here of 5 you receive as a context when you're starting a new conversation. Let me know if you want me to do a video on how to set up a Postgres memory. Next is giving your agent some tools to actually do things. Without the tools, your AI agent can only talk. It's important to give it some tools. You need to select the right model so it can execute tools. In order to give it a tool, let's click tools. Let's give it a email tool. Email tool. There's a couple of things you need to configure here. And first, you need to connect to your Google Cloud account in n8n. Once you do that, you'll be able to select the tool description. I generally leave it automatically, but you can actually set manually and provide some description of this tool does. But leave it automatically. Resources, we're going to use messages for emailing. Operation, you want to send an email, draft an email. Then who you want to send it to, what is the subject, what is the email type, and what is the actual message. As you can see in here, there are some stars. So what it means, if you click the stars, you don't actually have to define this parameter. The model will figure this out based on the conversation or based on the task. However, if you know this parameter, my advice would be, if you know that parameter already, set it up, because if your AI agent is to figure out too many things, then you have more chances to stuff it up. So if you know what the parameter should be, then you define it. If you don't know, or the parameter might change because of the depends on the request, and then you just simply click that, and that's how you connect to your tool. One final thing we need to think about is, if you go to the AI agent again, require specific output. As you can see here, there's an option available now. It's called output person. If you click that, you get some options here: structure output person, list of item output person, and auto fixing output person. You'll be using structure output person. So what it is if you want your agent to output in a certain way, that's the option you need to choose. So if you select that, this is the way you can give an example how the output you wanted from the AI agent, and then based on that, the agent will provide output. For our case, we'll not be using that. So before we finalize our AI agent, we need to give it a system prompt, which basically the set of instruction the agent will follow when executing certain task. So to give it a system prompt, what you need to do is here, add options, system message. By default, you have you are a helpful AI assistant. Obviously, we're not going to use that. Prepared a system prompt previously. So obviously, you wouldn't write the system prompt like that. Just a second. So here's the system prompt. The role: you're a customer support representative for TechFlow Software, just made up name. Goal: help the user troubleshoot product issue quickly and accurately. Knowledge: you have access to this knowledge. You can use, these are the tools. If you have the tools, you would define here what tool they're in and how to use those tools. Format: always respond in a clear, numbered steps when providing solution. And tone: be friendly, patient, and solution focused. Acknowledge user frustration and always offer the next steps. So this is how you generally write a prompt. So there you go. Now you can build an AI agent which will actually work. Next, I'm going to show you how an AI agent can pick its own brain. Instead of we selected the brain or the model, the AI agent will be able to pick up its own brain based on the required task. So here's the AI agent we have built using the OpenRouter chat model. The specialty of this AI agent is that it actually picks its own brain and then use that brain to respond to the user question. So let's do a demo first, then I'll break it down. Tell me some about... So the first model is analyzing the query, and then it decides based on the system message I said which model it needs to pick, and then passes that information to the next AI agent using that model to respond. So if you want to break it down, so let's have a look. So this is the chat message it received. Then this next, it's the model selector. It analyzes the information. It provided an output as GPT-4o. Then the GPT-4 as output, which is used as an, if you can see here, this is an output as a GPT-4, which we use as an input to our agent, which is this input our agent to respond to the user query. So in order to build that, what you need to do is, the way I built it, I built this part first. I haven't actually put a system message in here because this is a demo purpose, but for your use cases, you can put a system message, depends on what you wanted to get out of it. Normally, when you're selecting the OpenRouter chat model, it gives you an option, like a fixed one. It gives you an option which model to choose. But for our cases, the crucial is we go to the expression. And then when you go to the expression, we need to use the output from the previous model as an input, which is this. Just dynamically selecting that. One of the other thing is you got to make sure that to build this, you use the standard process, starting with the chat message. You're using a chat trigger. Once you have the chat trigger, then you select an AI agent module. Once you look at the AI agent module, the crucial part is the system message. System message is pretty broad and very comprehensive. So it reads in this way: you're a lightweight model router AI. Your task is to select most suitable language model for given user query. You must choose a model that from the list below and output only the exact model ID, which is really important because that needs to match exactly what the model in OpenRouter with no extra text, explanation, or formatting. So here are the list of model it's available. You can add more models if you wanted to, but these are the model I use. So I have those one in here, and then I provide the guideline. For example, use OpenAI model for general reasoning, Q&A, structure output, use Claude model for long form of content, and so on. These guidelines are important, but again, you can customize this guideline to your need. And again, reiterating, the output must be only the model ID, exactly as above. No code, no punctuation, no markdown, no comments, no extra lines. Once you have that, the output of that, it will provide an output, and output will be as input to this AI agent. So this AI agent is pretty simple. What I did is, instead of system message, I just simply had a "You are a helpful AI assistant," and user prompt is basically, hang on a sec, let me do a test. Tell me something about, when it comes in, "You are a helpful AI assistant," and the user prompt is the question we have received, which is dynamically in this section. You can just simply click, drag and drop. So then the important part is this chat model. When it's come to the chat model, you select, let me quickly show you, use OpenRouter. You need to get your API key from the OpenRouter. You need to set up an account, set up your billing details, then you'll be able to get an API key. Once you get the API key, you just simply go and create a new credential and paste your API key and save. But we will not be doing it in this section because I already have that. As you can see, there's a model selection option, and there's a bunch of model available which you can choose from. It depends on the task, but we won't be able to choose every time user asks a question. If you know the type of question coming, you can choose a model, but if you don't know the question user will be asking this model, if you don't know the question the user will ask, or you don't know the type of the question user will ask, you wanted to utilize the dynamic selection process. What it means is that the first model will analyze the question, output as the model, which model we should be using to answer the question. So in order to do that, we need to go to the expression, and we need to dynamically reference the output of the first model. Click, come here you go, save, delete that. So now I'm like, hey, okay, let's ask a different question. What's 3 plus 7? DeepSeek is good at reasoning and mathematical problem. So as you can see from here, the model has selected DeepSeek. As you can see, the output is a DeepSeek. So then that gets as an input to this AI agent, which is in here, DeepSeek R1, and you use that to solve user question. The other one we can use, write a LinkedIn post about n8n AI agent. So you got the LinkedIn post. Here's the user query. The next step is that this model is outputted Claude. Remember, the Claude is good at writing content. That gets inputted into this AI agent, and then here's the output using the Claude model. So there you have it. What I'll do is I have created a free PDF downloadable for this video, which will have all the model listed out and outline what is best for some of the use cases and when to use this model. I also have the dynamic AI agent for you to download and import it into your n8n canvas so that you can play around. If this has helped, hit the like and subscribe for more on no code automation video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.